Welcome back to the Swing Factory Golf Show. I'm Justin here with Don Peterson. How you doing, Don?
Hey, yes. Good afternoon, I guess. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's been a while since we filmed one of these, huh?
Well, we did quite a few in a row, like we said we were going to do, and now we're going to do a few again. Yeah. So this is a special edition again. We're going to do the British Open edition.
I'm super excited.
Yeah. British Open's one of my favorites. Obviously, you got to love the Masters if you're living here in Georgia, but for some reason the British Open's always a lot of fun, and it is the.
I feel like the British Open and the U.S. Open give you some sort of variability as far as little differences and creativeness that these players have to play with, and that's kind of why I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah. I have a little personal reason why I'm a fan of it. Todd Hamilton, one of my students, won the British Open in 2004, so I was able to go over there in 2005 and experience St. Andrews.
Okay.
When Jack Nicklaus retired and Tiger Woods won, and Todd Hamilton defended, so it was a special time for me. So I've got fond memories of British Open.
Right.
Going back to that.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Now, looking at Carnoustie's records, there hasn't been a lot of tournaments at Carnoustie. I figured that they'd play there more often.
Well, they're in a rotation now, I guess, where they rotate through 10 golf courses, and Carnoustie is one of them, but this might be the 8th championship. I think they've had 7
Well, it hasn't been
Opens
since
there.
2007, since Podrick won there, and they haven't played there since. So.
Right, and we were talking just a minute ago about Ben Hogan. Some of the famous photos you see are from Carnoustie because he won the third leg of the Grand Slam in 1953, and that was his famous year where he won, I think, 5 out of 7 tournaments that he teed it up in.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, he was ball striking it pretty good back then, and when he went over to the Open, he hadn't played there, and a bunch of people were curious about him, so the fans over there kind of adopted him, and they called him the Wee Iceman. And he, I think he went over a week ahead of time, or maybe 2 weeks ahead to prepare.
Yeah.
Because he had won the first 2 legs of the Grand Slam.
And you know why? I bet no one else was doing that back then.
Probably not. Yeah. It was hard to travel over there, and that's the reason why a lot of the Americans didn't go over. It was a hard trip to make.
Right.
So. Yeah, but Carnoustie's. I was kind of reading up on it because, like you said, it hadn't been there in a while, and in the rotation, and it's back in 1999 they had that tournament there, and I remember that tournament because so many people struggled.
Now, what to do?
They had a day when the weather came in, and it was like.
Yeah.
And they nicknamed it Carnoustie.
It seems like a very difficult golf course. I think we're going to see a similar type of play as the U.S. Open.
I think it's going to be difficult. In fact, I think in 1999, +6 won the tournament, so nobody broke par.
The Paul Lowry one?
Yeah. And that was the year Van de Velde blew up, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see that in the coverage a little bit. A bunch of stories on Van de Velde, his struggles. That was terrible to watch.
That was.
I wasn't old enough.
I was going to say you might have been pretty young, but you probably saw the replays.
Oh yeah, I've seen it since.
When I watched it live, I guess I don't even know it was tape delayed back when we watched it, but watching it live, it's like you just couldn't believe what you were seeing.
Right.
It was kind of shocking.
Just poor decision making,
Yeah, and it was just poor decision making. I think, so many times people get in those situations and they go, well, this is the shot that I trust. I'm just going to hit it.
Right.
Rather than just playing ultimately safe.
Yeah, he did the whole I'm going to play this like I've played it all week type of deal. So that's why he pulled driver off the tee, and that's why he was trying to get the lowest score like he was all week.
I can't remember for sure, but I think he hit the drive okay. He got lucky with it. I think he blocked it way right, but it was okay.
Yeah.
But he was so far off course, then he didn't know what club to hit where. I think is what happened. Remember Spieth when he played in the British Open and he hit that big block out to the right.
That was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. That bogey he made?
That's because he took so much time. If you remember, Spieth was, and I think that's where Van der Velde made his mistake. He didn't own the moment like Spieth did. I think Van der Velde got a little bit deer in the headlights thing, and it's like, oh, I just want to hit it and get it over with.
Right.
Where Spieth goes, all right, he's taking his time. I'm going to find out
Yeah,
what club I'm going to hit, where I'm going to hit it.
It was almost comical how long Spieth took on that hole.
It was.
Watching the coverage, they would go to another shot, then come back to Spieth, and then come, and just watch him walking off where he was on. I guess he hit it in the driving range, and then so he didn't have a yardage over there. And so that was really really an impressive 5 on Spieth's part last year.
So I think going back to Carnoustie, that last hole, and like you said, Padraig Harrington won that one year, but I think didn't he double bogey the last hole or something?
It's a difficult hole.
And then Sergio bogeyed it.
Right.
And did they go in the playoff? Is that what happened?
Between Padraig and Sergio?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember. I thought Padraig won it outright, but we could look that up.
Yeah, I'm not real sure either. But anyway, that was and then the other thing is they have something I was going to read to you. It's called the Carnoustie Effect, and that was the 1999 thing. Right. And in 1999 tournament, it says, well, this is a story about Sergio, too. Sergio left the course in tears, they said, went right home to his mom. And he shot 89-83, and he was a 19-year-old kid, and I guess he was like shell-shocked, if you could imagine. And here's one, you look at him now, it's like, how does he ever shoot 89-83 because he's such a great ball striker?
Right.
But I imagine the weather and the conditions, and
you're
19 years old, you don't know how to deal with a lot of that.
When picking, we each picked a couple players who we think might win. That was one of the biggest attributes I was looking at was how mentally tough they were.
Right.
I think
exactly right.
I think a very mature player is going to win this. Similar to the U.S. Open. That's what happened with Brooks Koepka. He just
so this is what was in Wikipedia. It says the Carnoustie effect, and it's defined as that degree of mental and psychic shock experienced on collision with reality by those whose expectations are founded on false assumptions. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it is. It's exactly right. It's a mentally taxing golf course, and if the weather comes in, I mean, who knows what scores are and how people are going to handle that.
It's going to have to be someone very smart, very tough. And you look at the type of players that won it. Padraig he's one of the toughest, and still one of the toughest players there is. Paul Lowry is like that. Tom Watson won at Carnoustie. That was like that.
Of course,
go back, Hogan. Ben Hogan.
Yeah.
And, they're very tough, smart golfers.
Right.
And I think, judging by the conditions at Carnoustie, I'd be more surprised if an American won it than a European. I think someone that's used to playing on the European Tour is probably going to have a slight advantage over there just because of the conditions they might see. But then again, these guys are experienced everywhere. A lot of the PGA guys went and played in the Scottish Open this week, and definitely a smart move in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of who played well. I guess Rickie Fowler played okay in the Scottish Open.
Right.
And, who else was over there that played pretty well? The guy that won it.
He's South African.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just told you his name and now I can't remember
it. Right.
Brandon Stones. That was his name?
Yeah. Brandon Stone.
So, anyway.
We'll take a short break and then after that we'll come back and give you our picks. Welcome back to the Swing Factory Golf Show. Before we left, we were going to talk about our picks for the British Open, and we did something similar for the U.S. Open. I actually won some money from it, so
yeah, you did.
I was happy we did that. I actually
not for me. You won in a pool. It wasn't in a pool or something.
I put $5 on Brooks Koepka. His odds were like 111 or something. So
yeah, there you go.
That was pretty good. Yeah, a lot of people probably thought that we actually released that episode after the tournament already started, so people might have thought we were pulling a fast one, but
No, we taped it beforehand, just like this one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's tough to do this. I see how those guys on Golf Channel, they struggle with their picks, and it's like
Right.
they sound so safe sometimes. It's like, oh, I'll take one of the top 5 players
take
in the world.
DJ every time.
Yeah. So
Not a bad pick. But
no.
Why don't you get us started? Who's your number one?
Well, I think it's going to be someone who's tough and can handle it. Again, I got to pick. I think Stenson's probably a real good pick there. I picked Stenson in the U.S. Open. If I'm not, I don't know if he was my first pick, but I picked him. It's because he's such a good ball striker, and I think if bad weather comes in,
Right.
I just think he's kind of a tough guy.
Well,
And the weather's not going to bother him as much.
I would agree with that because I put him as my number one as well.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So,
I don't know if he was my number one, but he's one of the ones.
way
I would
he
pick.
hits the ball is so incredible. He's probably the best ball striker on tour right now.
Yeah, and he's putting pretty well right now too. So
He has a history of playing in bad weather pretty well, and with how hot he is, I'd say how hot the putter is. I think he's a very good candidate to win this British Open. Of course, he was probably around in the 07 Open. He's been around a while.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if he played well back then.
Yeah,
he was probably playing.
Yeah, we talk about how windy and rainy it could be, and he controls trajectory like no other, and
Right.
definitely compresses the ball and does everything right. So
Yeah.
I think Henrik Stenson's a great pick.
Sometimes those big guys, they just weather the storm better too.
Right.
It's kind of like the cold and the wet and the wind maybe don't bother them quite as much as smaller players.
Right. It's
Hard
funny.
to
I feel like being able to hit the ball far, it helps a ton in tough conditions like that.
Yeah.
Because people often don't think like that, but when they don't distance not a factor for them, and that's just another variable that's
If
taken
it's
out.
bad weather, everybody's going to hit it shorter. So some people who are short hitters, if they hit it shorter, now they're struggling to reach par 4s and 2.
It takes them out of the ball game.
Yeah, and par 3s can be like 2 or 3 extra clubs.
Right.
And the big guys that can compress the ball, like you said, it's like they're still getting home on those shots.
Right.
On those long holes into the wind and stuff. They can still get there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think there's definite advantage there.
Yeah, and he played well at the U.S. Open.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the next go. Who's your pick?
My second pick would be Rickie Fowler. I think it's about time. He played good in the Scottish Open. He's played well at the British Open, and he's definitely due for a major win.
Yeah.
And he's playing well this year, and he's been playing well the past couple of years. I think he mentally can handle it. He seems like one of them mentally tougher players on tour.
Yeah.
And I think that's paramount for this type of golf course.
Yeah. Again, I like Rickie too. He's obviously playing well. Got 6th in the Scottish Open, and
Right.
He's played well earlier
And
this year.
he was right there too.
Yeah.
I watched him a little bit during the Scottish Open, and he was playing really well out of some tough spots he was put in, which makes me feel pretty good about him going to Carnoustie, because you're not going to play fairway to green on every shot in that hole,
Right.
or that course, and so someone that could scramble like that, it's going to be a pretty good bet in my opinion.
Right. So I took one of the guys you picked in the U.S. Open, Webb Simpson. For some reason, I looked at him and I go, you know what? I think his game might set up well here or there.
Right. Well,
again, he's a grinder.
Yeah.
He's got a full game too. It's not like he doesn't have too many weaknesses.
He's starting to putt the ball well today, or
Yeah.
this year, which has been an issue with him because he's switched from the long putter.
Yeah.
But he has a nice short, compact swing. We both like his swing a lot.
Yeah.
And he played great at the Players this year.
Yeah.
I think definitely we've seen swings like that win. With Zach Johnson and stuff like that, we've seen
Right.
swings like that win the British Open.
Right. Yep. So
Yeah.
who's next on your list?
I had Tommy Fleetwood.
Again?
Yeah, so I chose him in the U.S. Open. I think, like I said earlier, I think I'm very partial to the Europeans for this tournament.
Right.
and he's been playing well. He's another guy that's on the verge of a major win, in my opinion.
Right. He's a grinder again.
You're right, and when I look at the recent victories at Carnoustie, that's what kind of takes care of it. With Podrick and Paul Lowry, it's going to be someone that plays very smart and is very composed under pressure.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think Fleetwood played. He did have some good breaks at the U.S. Open, being able to play when the conditions were a little better than some of the leaders.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that. He played on, I think, Saturday. He got to play with good conditions. Everybody else played with bad conditions. Or no, it happened like that on Sunday. So he finished really early before the conditions got bad. Right. But he's just an amazing player, and he's been playing well on the European Tour for so long now.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I got Zach down next. And again, he's got a British Open, and it's a thinking man's golf course and weather. Zach can handle scrambling and keeping his wedges. If you got to get it up and down for par,
right?
From 100 yards because the wind's blowing like crazy or it's raining like crazy. He's got to be one of those guys that just keeps his score down. When par's good, I think Zach's a pretty good player.
Right.
And he can make birdies too, but I think he just knows how to make pars in bad weather.
Right, and it's interesting. Webb and Zach are very similar players, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think, I wouldn't be surprised if either of them played really well. I think normally when you have conditions like we're expecting, having that major in your back pocket's probably a pretty big advantage. Instead of adding on the pressure of that.
Right.
Even though I just chose two people that are looking for their first major. So.
Right.
With Rickie and Tommy Fleetwood, but I think Zach Johnson's a great pick.
Yeah.
My next one was Francesco Molinari.
Yeah.
And definitely another player that's similar to Fleetwood that's just been steady Eddie on the European Tour.
Yeah.
And he has some things in his swing that he just works with. It's not the most technically sound swing, but he definitely is a gamer, and he plays great in bad conditions, and he's putting really well right now. So I think he's definitely a good pick in my opinion.
Did he play in the Quad City Open?
He won a couple weeks ago.
Right, and he was in the Quad City Open. He finished second, I think, today in the Quad City Open.
Well, he just won by a long shot.
Right. Right, so he was he came from behind and got to 19 under and got second in the Quad City Open today.
Well, I started looking at
he is playing really hot right now.
Right,
and he's a good player over there. So I agree with you. I think that's a great pick.
Yeah, he like a little bit after the U.S. Open, I started thinking about what the British Open was going to be like, and he popped in my head. I'm like, I wonder how Francesco Molinari's playing, and then. A couple days later, he just runs away with that tournament. I'm like, he'd probably be a good pick.
Yeah.
But he's someone that doesn't get rattled. I really like about him.
Right.
He just is so consistent out there.
Yeah.
He's great.
And my next pick was McIlroy.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be flying under the radar. Maybe I don't know. Maybe not. But I think. He could get it going, and you just never know. If he gets hot,
right?
I mean, he can just run away with tournaments.
So this year he's been hitting the ball really well.
Yeah.
His putter's just been letting him down.
Yeah.
So maybe with this tournament, he starts to find the putter again. I think he's dangerous when that's the case.
Yeah, and there's something about the Open.
Right.
I think he'll come to play, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I just think he's too good not to come around every once in a while.
Right, and that's been the case. He hasn't been coming around, and we do. We all want him to play better.
Yeah.
I think an issue might be that he hasn't proven to be the most mentally tough person as of late. I think it's funny as a kid or as a young the chubbier curly haired Rory. It was almost like he was a little tougher, and then lately he just mentally gets out of it sometimes.
I wonder if the press beats him up a little bit. And he
I
doesn't
bet it
like
does.
that.
And he, if we can go back to the old Rory, I think that's a great pick.
I think all he's got to do is get a good round under his belt, and that confidence will come back in a major tournament, in Scotland. And
with a tournament like this, it's kind of the tournament anyway where you get a good round on your belt, then you kind of just hang on, and that's how you win these things.
Yeah.
It's not going to be 3 amazing rounds that you need. You need to just kind of hang on.
Stay consistent. Yeah.
And I think he could do that. Well, my last one on the list was Paul Casey.
Yeah.
So he's someone that obviously he won a British Open, played really well, then fell off the map a little bit with injuries and stuff. And this year he comes back on the radar and he's starting to hit leaderboards and he's hitting the ball great and he's putting the ball well. So I would really like to see Paul Casey play well. I think he can too.
Yeah, I think he can too. It kind of scares me because it doesn't look like he can close tournaments out.
Right.
Or at least he didn't the last one, and he's had a couple tournaments like that where he didn't close them out. But yeah, as far as the talent goes, I mean, he can play. He can golf his ball and putt and everything.
Yeah. I think the fact that he has a major helps.
Yeah.
It was a while ago, so it might be a different. We forget about that in golf. Shoot, when did he win that last major? 10 years ago or so. It's been a while, I guess. So it's probably he's a little bit of a different person, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him close one out and win it.
Well, I didn't know how many we wanted to pick, so I've got Sergio down next, and Sergio played. He played in that 1999 one, like I said, and played poorly.
Right.
But he's a different guy now. It's a different time. And,
that's the best example I could think of.
I think it might be pretty cool for him to go back to Carnoustie and have a good tournament. Yeah. So I'm kind of looking forward to see how he does.
Right. No, that'd be great. That'd be
a great story.
It'd be movie worthy.
Yeah.
But I agree. 20 years ago, he's a completely different person. I imagine from the 19-year-old kid. Like I said, I was 4 years old at that time, so I don't remember him crying and going off the golf course.
Well, I don't think anybody knew that. I think that was a story that came out later.
Right.
I don't remember anybody talking about that, but evidently the story came out that he was so upset he went home and cried in his mom's arms. That's how much it hurt him.
Yeah.
Anybody who plays golf is passionate about it like that. They understand that.
But what a competitor, You'd imagine that you see a lot of 19-year-olds and younger guys like that, or maybe amateurs that get to play in these big tournaments. Obviously, they don't take it for granted. They love these tournaments, but they'll get in their first British Open and they'll just be happy to be there, shoot 80 a couple times, and they wouldn't be as upset as Sergio was. I kind of feel like if I was out there, I would say, if I shot 85 twice, I'd be like, all right, it was great to be here. I would
be ecstatic to be there.
But Sergio he knew how good he was when he was 19.
Right.
And he was so passionate that he ended up crying when he got off the golf course. So.
Yeah. Hurt him deeply. Yeah. So.
Did you have any other picks?
My dark horse, I think Bo Hostler. I kind of like that kid. I saw him play, and I didn't see him play. I watched him play on television, just like everybody else. But he's shown some special qualities and some real special talent.
Yeah.
And I think this will be his first trip over there, so I wouldn't be surprised to see if he doesn't play well. I don't know if he could pull out the win, but
I think he's going to have a good tournament.
I think it'll be interesting to see.
I think he has a great career ahead of him. Yeah. He has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because he had a great college career. I think it was the U.S. Open a while ago. I remember watching him. I don't know. It was a while ago. I must have been 15 years old or so, and I think he was a year older than me. And he was playing in the tournament, and he played really well. And just watching him as a 16-year-old or 17-year-old, however old he was,
Right.
Play as well. I think it was at Oakmont.
Mm-hmm.
And, he went on and had a pretty good college career. He graduated. He didn't go to the pros early. But all these guys his age, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, he played against a lot of them in his junior career. So
Right.
he sees them playing well. He has a chip on his shoulder. He wants a career.
Yeah.
And I think he could do it. He's pretty talented, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, I think so, too. That's why I was interested to see how he does, because it'll be his first time over there, first Open, I think, is what I read.
Right.
Do you have a dark horse or anybody that you pulled out of the hat there?
I kind of chose guys I felt were a little bit under the radar anyways.
Uh-huh.
I would say Francesco Molinari is probably my dark horse.
Okay.
If that counts. He did win a couple weeks ago. So.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other guys. I don't know.
I put down a couple of old guys that I'd like to see do well. Langer played well at. He won the senior at Carnoustie, the senior British Open at Carnoustie.
Really?
Yeah, back in what was it, 2010.
Yeah.
So obviously he knows the course, likes the course. The guy can still play. I mean, what is he, 61 or something like that?
He's built an incredible career as a Champions Tour player.
Yeah.
And
but under tough conditions,
right,
at a golf course that he likes, I can see him making the cut. I'm not saying he's going to win, but I can see him making the cut.
Well, I'd say easily, because he makes the cut every major.
I know. And then I put down Todd, and again, because of the bad weather,
right,
and because of the ability to scramble, you never know. And I think Todd's still young enough. He's only 51.
Yeah.
He's still young enough. I don't think he can compete, but I think he can have a good tournament.
How cool would it be if Todd ended up playing pretty well? A guy I had my eye on is Terrell Hatton.
Yeah.
Did you see him play at the Scottish Open at all? I
didn't watch any of that, but I've seen him swing.
Yeah, he was hanging around the leaderboard on Saturday, and I think he could have a good tournament. He probably hasn't been that successful too long to be able to win, but who knows? He's another good European player that kind of flies on the radar because he doesn't spend time on the PGA Tour.
Right.
Another young kid is Xander Schauffele.
Yeah.
I think he has a great swing.
Look
out for him come PGA time.
As far as young guys, I remember that. What's his first name? Young Lee or something. What is it?
Right. Yeah.
I can't think of how they say the first name, but that kid that last year's British Open, he shot like 5 birdies coming in or something. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like this real young player. I'd like to see how he does because he's coming back. He'll be in the tournament.
Right.
I want to see how he plays. I think that might be interesting because he was kind of near the top. He wasn't close to winning, I don't think, but he.
And I'm still expecting, talking about Asian players, I'm still expecting Hideki Matsuyama to have a good tournament.
Yeah.
He's kind of been struggling this year, but
how about Michael
he's
Kim?
Such a good player.
He just won the Quad City Open by 6 or 7 shots or something like that.
Right.
Do you think he can get on the jet and fly over there and compete?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not.
When you shoot that many under, you got to have a pretty good.
Yeah.
You got to be pretty confident, huh?
You can't be a bad player and shoot that well,
Right.
So I think he can handle it. So this was fun getting to do our picks. Hopefully, I'll put some money on these, and
there you go.
We'll see what happens. But
I don't have enough money to gamble on my picks. I'm not that confident. There's too many guys in the field that can win nowadays.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
That's what makes it exciting.
We didn't talk about Tiger.
Yeah, I guess we got to spend time talking about Tiger, huh?
Yeah, what do you think?
I really wish he had played in some of these tournaments coming up to the British Open.
Yeah, he didn't go over. He didn't play in Scottish Open, did he? I didn't see his name, so.
No. I really wish he had done something like that.
Yeah.
I think at the beginning of the year I said he would probably be coming around British Open time.
Yeah.
I think Carnoustie is a pretty decent fit for him. He's played well there.
Yeah.
And he's talked about how much he likes the golf course. So
There's no better grinder.
right.
Yeah. And as far as tough condition goes,
Yeah.
I don't think you're not going to count Tiger out in bad conditions.
Right.
So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
It'd be interesting to see how he's putting. I love seeing him switch to a mallet putter. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's obviously making some changes, and his swing looks good.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
that's all. We're doing this shit. We're taping this show on Sunday, so we've got a few days to watch the preliminary practice rounds and things like that.
Yeah, that's always fun to watch.
Listen to all the talk, just like everyone out here in our audience will be doing. So, and then the tournament gets underway on Thursday. So
Right.
everybody will get up early in the morning and watch it on television.
So do you like that, or do you not like that?
I love it.
I like being able to watch golf in the morning.
That once a year, I just get up in the morning and turn it on and sit there and watch it.
It's nice. I'd rather have that all day than waiting till 4 o'clock or something to be able to watch the Open.
Nice thing is you can finish it up, and then you can go tee it up afterwards.
Right. I'll probably be doing that this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've been watching the Swing Factory Golf Show. My name is Don Peterson.
Justin Masinko.
Thanks, and come back and watch again.